I want to get to this next story from West Side. You sent this over to me earlier, and let me put this on the screen.
It
All
was in
right.
our somebody I think in our hip hop and sports group actually had posted it, and I had seen it, and I was like, oh, like well,
So West Side Gun tweets, the source just make sure that you put my pick as Boris Cujo up for me next week so I can get some bitches. So the Source magazine supposedly, put up a post or tweet of Young Thugs arrested in Georgia on gang-related charges, and Future was the picture. Um, Hopefully, one of our people at Source Magazine will hit us and say that that wasn't real and they were hacked. Honestly, man, this kind of hurts because we grew up looking up to the Source magazine, and I mean they were the hip hop Bible in the '90s and some of our most primitive years, and really were inspiration for me in hip hop journalism. And to see things like this just lets you know who they got over there currently, and that's the part that they probably have people that is super out of touch. I'll tell you this, man. There's no way in the world anybody here at According to Hip Hop would confuse Future with Young Thug or vice versa.
I mean, well, we're based in Atlanta, and I like to go outside.
Well, I
So
mean, anybody. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody in hip hop that we're going to get confused and put up the wrong picture for. Like I said, when things like that get done, especially on an article, because this was an article, right? Was this a link to an article? It looked like it was. But yeah, when you do things like that, and we've seen this happen on other publications a lot, you're just out of touch. It's just out of touch, man. I mean, it is what it is. Like, not only are you out of touch, you don't have people who are hip hop fans that are working at your institution. It reminds me of when Joe Button was getting interviewed at Hot 97 by some young intern, seemingly intern, young white guy, right? And so he was asking Joe Button about All Eyes on Me. And Joe Button asked him, like, what's your favorite song on All Eyes on Me? And he says, I don't know, I don't really listen to rap like that. Joe Budden's like, fuck you interviewing me for? And why are you even working at Hot 97 if you don't listen to rap like that? Who are you? And see, that's the thing, man. And like I said, man, we're getting a lot of these issues with some of these publications covering hip hop. If you're gonna cover hip hop, make sure you have hip hop people on your staff and in your publication and people who are actually dedicated to it. There should never be a time in the home of hip hop, which is New York City, and their biggest hip hop station, where you got somebody who works at that station interviewing people, shit, even doing sales, saying that they're not a fan of hip hop like that.
it's very problematic.
It is. And it hasn't been a good week for these publications either, because the XXL just put out their freshman list, and most people, let's see, that's the wrong graphic. There it is. Do you see it on the screen? Jay Short says, was the negligence or nefarious? Was that negligence or nefarious? Okay. In
Both.
other publication news, XXL just released their freshman cover. People that made the freshman cover are Baby Tron, Cassius, Saucy Santana, Babyface Ray, Ken the Man, Sofago, Big Scar, Big 30, K Say, Doshai, Cali, Nardowick. And we posted that on According to Hip Hop, and many of the comments were saying, I'm old. I'm officially old. I don't know who any of these artists are. And
I've heard Bernardo Wick.
oh yeah, I know Nardo Wick. All right, let's see the people that I know on here, and we cover hip hop like that. I mean, I've heard of Saucy Santana for some other shit. I've
I've
never heard any of
heard,
the
yeah, but I
music.
haven't heard anything.
Right. I've
You want to
heard
know? Get off my lawn. I'm
right.
done.
I've heard
Get off my
Babyface
lawn.
Ray
I'm out. I'm
and
out.
Nardo Wick.
I'm out.
And everybody's like, who are these people?
Well, where's the music? I just want to hear the music. I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying they don't deserve to be there or don't belong. I'm saying I don't know because I haven't heard the music. Where the
But you
music
know what?
at?
This is the thing. It's on the publication to let us know why these people are on the cover.
I
Right?
mean, I'm sure there's an inside the magazine or something or digital. I
Well,
mean,
it should be, but I'm just saying beforehand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because now obviously we live in a different day where, you know, the buzzing artists on the radio and stuff, like, there is no radio. Radio doesn't matter, right? There's nowhere outside of just, you know, these hip hop circles and shows like ours and different pages where people can find out about new artists. So, with XXL being in that same space and having that same reach, I think, it's my personal opinion, I think it's their responsibility leading up to the cover to introduce people to these acts before and you know give them reason why these people are on the cover. Because the people clearly had nothing to do with this.
Well, this is the thing about it, and where it does get a little convoluted, and I mean convoluted and maybe convoluted and diluted in terms of the watering down of the material. You used to have to produce enough quality material or verses that a buzz was warranted around it. It's like, and I'm not, and maybe, and this is what I'm saying when I'm saying get off my lawn. It's like, man, I can remember opening up the Source magazine one day, and their like freshman class was like DMX, Big Pun, and Cannabis, and I know exactly who the fuck they were.
Well, on a mainstream level, I understand what you mean, and you know,
no, I mean like they had literally put in enough work that I had gotten acquainted with them as artists, and so being a freshman must mean something different now. Is really what I'm trying to say.
Zombie
so maybe
TV
we need to
says,
like what does a freshman mean now? Because freshman used to mean this person is out and on the scene, dropping verses and dropping songs, but hasn't released a debut album yet.
Right. All right. So Zombie TV says something that I want to piggyback on, and maybe it's going to clarify something for some people, some, you know, things I've said. He says, those are all radio played artists. Okay, this is what I'm expecting, right? And again, this is what I think should be done, and we're probably going to do it ourselves, right? I think when lists like this come out, if they got a staff over there at XXL, put a camera up, y'all record y'all meetings, and who's putting these lists together, and why. That's it. That's it. You know, and but see, the problem is, and it kind of alludes to what, you know, Game and Meek Mill were talking about. They don't want to reveal who the people are that are actually putting these lists together. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
The problem is they don't want you to have any kind of insight to who's actually putting this list together.
Mike, you're absolutely right. That's why it's like, well, that's why I put my name on the list and take responsibility for it. And I came in here and it's like, well, hey, I thought of 78 albums off the top of my head before I even paused.
And so you're speaking to it. And people, if anybody has to criticize,
be honest with people. You have to tell people the truth. And that's really the point that I'm trying to get at. And it's like, well, people aren't telling the truth.
Exactly. And they don't. And we live in a very interactive era, right? Video, YouTube. I mean, we got like 200 something people in here right now, and we don't have the machine these people have. If they were to say, you know what, we're gonna air tonight who the freshman cover is, and they actually go through it and explain it. Like, remember when MTV used to do their hottest MCs out list? Even though that was some bullshit, at least they explained it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not just hiding behind some paper.
No, they gave the people making the list the space to express their rationale for the criteria, and they gave us the space to agree or disagree.
Exactly.
That's all that's all we're asking for. It's like, no, like, don't like
and at the end of the day, if it's about helping the artist and giving the artist, you know, proper promo, then that should help even more. If you're sitting there speaking to the artist, and if they really deserve to be up there, then that should really get the artist fans. Like, you know what? They said this and this about them. Maybe I need to go check them out.
It's just, it's a little troubling. And here's the level that it's troubling on. And this is what I mean. So when you got people that get classified like we do sometimes as old heads, well, we're not old. We're just used to a certain standard and criteria and quality.
Yeah.
And part of the criteria and the quality was kind of how you got in the front door. It's like, look at how, I mean, think about this. And I always go back to this. If you want to go like some old man get off my lawn stuff, the biggest buzzes that I ever saw was for Snoop and for Nas. Like, Snoop made Deep Cover with Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre was already known and a multi-platinum producer. And even then, still, it took the Chronic. You understand that? Like, Deep Cover wasn't enough, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hear nobody even drop. I'm not being funny, and I'm not trying to say get off my lawn, but I ain't heard nobody dropping nothing new that hits the way Deep Cover hits when it made, and that nigga had to go write the Chronic to get a debut album. So that's where it's like, no, I want to understand how it's working now, because it's like, man, you used to have to be like all time great to get a great debut, you know? And
I see somebody in the chat saying that they explain it in the magazine.
Okay.
First of all, I don't know if they're even printing it. Maybe they are. And when's the last time you went and picked up a magazine from the grocery store or whatever? But that's neither here nor there, right? I think that we live in a whole different time now where whoever made this list, I think they need to let themselves be known and explain it. What's the problem with that? I think that's a fun process, right? That should be part of... We live in a time now where people are able to see everything. So let's lift behind the curtain and actually see how this freshman list was chosen. And it makes me feel like the way it was chosen is not really going to up and up. And the people who chose it aren't really, the most credible hip-hop people out there because they don't want to show it. That's how it feels. LP say it was clickbait. They don't sell magazines anymore. It's based off of clicks and views. It's a new business model for them. This is what they have resorted to. Ryan Gillum says the 2011 freshman was the last freshman class that was good. It had Crit, Kendrick, Sci-Hi, Mac Miller, Yellow Wolf, Meek Mill, and YG. Meek Mill had something to say too. Go ahead.
Hold on. Even when he's saying that, I remember that magazine. I knew who most of them were before that mag dropped.
Yeah, because Kendrick had worked out.
I want to say
Section 8 was out.
Kendrick, Sci-Hi, Meek, and Yellow Wolf wore before that dropped. Like, I knew that for a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody like Sci-Hi, and I remember back when we used to do like our events or whatnot with my man IL, Keep It Classic, and he used to throw some dope events, and he had a knack for just finding great artists in Atlanta and that weren't discovered and weren't, attached to anybody. But anyway, Sci-Hi and Yellow Wolf used to show up at those events and, just rhyme. And Sci-Hi was one of those guys that he didn't really have a buzz in Atlanta like that. I remember Greg Street was like playing some of his raps on the radio. But he made the list off of talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't even just, the fact that, okay, this person's co-signing this person. Like, people paid attention to Sci-Hi because he just had talent. It wasn't like he had a whole bunch of records out here floating in the city that was getting play or this and that.
He did have that.
He just could rhyme.
You remember that little 5-track teaser where he's snapping on the swag and surf beat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was what did it. That was the one. That's what did it when he dropped that. Because I was like,
he just has skills out of this world, man. And saying all that to say, I mean, if you saw him on the cover and you didn't know who he was, and then you just did like a quick search and then heard something, you'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, even as recent as the LA Leakers freestyle, like, that's where he lives. Like, he's here to give you bars. They used to have these lists a little bit more balanced, though. And again, I don't want to critique too much when I don't know all the artists, as far as ins and outs. But, they would have Fred the Godson, rest in peace, on there. And even if they had, somebody who did more, I guess, party club music, they would have somebody that was there for the bars. Even they did that on, 2016, when they had Yachty, 21 Savage, they had Dave East on there, and then they had Anderson .Paak on there. It was a little bit of balance of styles, and I think there's a whole lot of styles out there in hip-hop from younger artists, from artists of all, you know what I'm saying, eras and age ranges, excuse me, where they could still be balanced in that way. These guys look like, you know, just based off the appearance, and I could be wrong. Let me get back to that cover real quick. Just based off the appearance, yeah, man, they kind of all look the same to a degree, or at least they have them looking the same in this shoot.
Well, I was about to say that's dangerous for us to say that.
Yeah, I know. LP with the super chat says the real disrespect is that they did it with hip hop. They would never do a rock or punk clickbait article. They don't respect hip hop enough to do it right. Well, Meek Mill has something to say about that too. Coop, you there? Coop, you there? All right, Coop done froze for a second. You guys there? Hold on 1 second. We got to get Coop back on. Shoot, let's get to the people in the chat real quick while we get Coop back on. Hold on. Shoot. All right, we get Coop back on. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, cool.
So, hey, look here. Somebody said something very strong. LP said something. He said, Big Sean wrote a lot on graduation. Pusha and Sci-Hi wrote most of my beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy. Consequence, too.
Got a super chat from Ryan Gillum. He says, to add more to Coop's point, all the XXL magazine in the early mid 2010s were good because rappers were already showing up with a lot of heat before they were on the magazine cover. So you already knew who they were. Yeah, I don't think it's any excuse, man, because now, you know, we have more access. People have more of an ability to actually put their material out there. It does
That's
seem
what I'm
more
saying.
like a clickbait.
Hold on. So hold on. Do you remember Redman's verse on the Cypher?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't any of them have something like that I can go pull up on YouTube that's just like crazy like that the cat should be talking about from them? You get what I'm saying? Because here's the reality of the matter. You should have something like that right now in the chamber at this point. Because, and I bring up Redman to say is like, that dude came out in 1990.
It does feel like
Cypher.
It does feel like when they
get
do
what I'm saying?
I feel
but that's because the talent and the requirements were there. And so a guy like that can pull up to the Cypher literally like 20, 30 years after his debut and black out. You feel me?
It
and
feels
give you something like that to take with you.
Because you know they do the ciphers and stuff on there, but it feels like that part of it is clickbait, right? They get these MCs or rappers, and they know they're not going to do a great job, but they know it's going to get clicks because people are going to share how awful it is. Now, that part of it does seem clickbaitish because there's so many people out here with bars. I'm sure there's people in the chat right now that got bars. And these are the people that they choose to highlight. But once again, I'm judging this on, again, the fact that we haven't really heard a buzz about any of the people on here except for Nardo and Babyface Ray, but they not like MCs like that. So I'm expecting to see more of the same when it comes to when they're doing this cipher. And that part of it does seem clickbaitish. But what I was going to get to before I got cut out, Meek Mill, speaking of him, he said something about the Culture Council that Rolling Stone has. He said, what the fuck, Culture Council? Most of these people that run rap behind the scenes can't really relate to us. When y'all make lists like these, y'all discredit other rappers' brands with the BS. Y'all tripping even letting this be the Hip-Hop Council. Well, he said Culture Council. Rolling Stone, get it together. And I want to go to what Game said about the matter, and then I'll get to you. Game said, Rolling Stone, how is the documentary not on the list for the top 200 greatest rap albums of all time? I carried an entire coast for 20 years on the back of my first album because I don't walk the red carpets, play dress up, smile, or fake laugh at brunches. I don't count. Drillmatic, July 1st. And then he said in the caption, first they steal the culture, then they disrespect it. Y'all brains is fried as fuck. Some things you just gotta laugh at. They'll try to erase you if you let them. I have to think the game watches the show. He says a lot of the things that I feel like I've said on this show. Shout out to Game. We appreciate the love, and yes, I agree with everything you just said wholeheartedly. But I want to finish this statement. But what rappers got to start doing, man, got to stop going to people that you know don't love you like that. We love you over here, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so can I say
tired of publications dancing, come to According to Hip Hop.
And so I'm going to tell you what's really going on here. First of all, let me say that one of the biggest mistakes in my top 100 list, in my opinion, that we're going to rectify, because it was just off the top of the dome list, really, if you want to be truthful. But one of my biggest mistakes was not having either the documentary and or the Doctor's Advocate in the top 100.
Yeah.
But you said something very strong, and I actually have it at the top of my note page. I said, why do these rappers keep looking for love in all the wrong places?
Yeah.
Like, for real. I'm sick. No, I'm sick of us at this point, and we're growing, and we're not, major by any means, but we're doing something. We're making some sort of headway. We're resonating with some sort of fabric of the culture. And I guess for being on this side, really, for the first time, I'm realizing how many of us really crave that mainstream, like, media attention. And it's like there, and not just us, there are so many other places where it's like, where you're loved, that it's like, man, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know you're doing the whole Suge thing from the Source Awards, but all jokes aside, it's like, no, like, you're supposed to be down more with publications like us that really, like, love you and support your music. Like, these other publications don't go up on here and talk about Pray from Jesus Peace like I do, Mike. You get what I'm saying? They don't know that Pray is track 4 on Jesus Peace like I do. They don't know that might be the best verse of Cole Career. They don't know track 8 is Name Me King with Pusha T. No, they don't. They don't know about Hallelujah, track 10 with Jamie Foxx. They don't even know.
What we do this actually...
You go to them looking for love, and it's like, well, then I start taking a certain type of way when people are actually here doing what we're supposed to do to get the love from people like you. You keep looking for these sucker ass niggas. It's not even niggas.
Well, that's the thing. You know what? That's the thing. What we do that is so special and it seems so simple, we actually talk to the people. You can see our faces. You can hear our conversations. You can engage in the conversations. These people that put together these lists would never sit here and talk to hip-hop fans about this list that they put together. You think that these people would sit there and run down a list where they got Invasion of Privacy as number 16 of the 200 greatest hip-hop albums of all time and talk to a hip-hop audience and tell them that? You think you're going to be sitting there in an arena of people or a chat room of people and not get tomatoes thrown at you of hip-hop fans putting Invasion of Privacy at number 16 or putting Miss E So Addictive at number 7. These people hide behind the publications and the actual brands of the publications, and we don't even know who these ghosts are that are putting these lists together. So, again, when Meek Mill said get it right, I don't think there is any getting it right, Meek. I think what it is we need to stop credentializing certain publications for certain things. Is Rolling Stones credible when it comes to rock music? Probably so. But when it comes to hip hop, don't even be mad.
Well, no. Here's what I'm saying. Okay, so it works both ways. So I think you're speaking to the first step of what needs to be done. Well, you have to deauthorize these publications and their validity. But here's how you really do it. You can't just deauthorize. Like sending this out isn't doing. No. You guys have to start authorizing and certifying the people like us who are. That's what I'm saying. It's like if y'all want to sit up here and change it. No. Start doing y'all homework and certifying the people that are doing it properly, because some of us are out here who really care about the culture that still exists, that are trying to push it forward.
Exactly.
Like Mike, I talk a lot of shit on here. Like, I'm from the projects. Like, that's what we do where I'm from, on the east side of Atlanta and on the west side of Charlotte. Like, we talk shit. You feel me? And so, but I love the culture and I love the game. And the way that these dudes keep pandering to it by speaking on it, but not certifying and giving authenticity to those of us that are covering it and giving them their flowers, and they're doing the process. Well, you got to start being part of the solution, fam.
Exactly.
Like, there's nothing wrong with what you're saying, but be part of the solution and raise publications that deserve to be on that stature. Like, we'll play a part in taking it there.
Exactly. At your own discretion, right? You know what I mean? I think that
as you see fit. That's what I'm saying. If you audit yourself. Like, I'm not talking about us, Mike. I'm talking about everybody in this sphere.
Yeah.
Like,
if you like what Rap Roundtable's doing, shout them out. You know what I'm saying?
I was actually about to say, we got somebody in our hip hop and sports group, Mike Prez. Like, Prez, like the stuff that he's doing up top in New York. Like, I love watching his stuff and like his interviews. He's a super funny and personable guy. It's like, do you know he exists though?
Exactly. Marquez Davis with the $50 super chat. Damn, man, we appreciate the love. Good looking out. He said, I'm a big Biggie fan. I'm a Biggie fan. I always say, to me, he is the best to do it. But objectively, I put Nas in number one. Ready to Die is an incredible album, but Biggie on Life After Death was another level. I don't care what anybody says. Ready to Die is not better than Life After Death.
It's not.
It
took me a long time.
It's a hard argument to make.
So partial to Life After Death.
He's just so much better. He's just so much better on there.
You got to get out your feelings about stuff. It's like, I realized I was in my feelings when I was saying Ready to Die better than Life After Death. Like, listen to what I'm saying. There's nothing on Ready to Die lyrically like Kicking the Door, and I don't even know if that's lyrically the best song on there.
LP
says, I don't even know that.
This is evolved media, like the point guard position. LOL. Right. We're combo media. I see what you did there. Yes.
Media.
Look, man. But to piggyback on what you said, man, I agree with that 100%. And see, again, we always talk about, we see, and Meek tweets a lot of this stuff. I'm just going to point him out because he tweets a lot of his feelings and a lot of the things he think about, people in hip hop being marginalized, mostly black people, whatever. You don't have to start your own media publication. Like you said, as you see fit, do your part on your platform to shout out the real. That's what you would want to be done, right?
No.
What's the problem?
What I'm saying is
the energy that you're putting into, I agree with them expressing what they're expressing about Rolling Stone. But, all it takes is if you know about a platform that is doing well and they're not compromised on that level and they're giving you those props, shout them out every now and then.
Right. Mike, real talk. How many times have I came up here talking about how much I love Scream on them?
Yeah. A lot. We talk about the fact that the game is underappreciated. And again, the game probably watches our show because I hear a lot of the stuff that he's saying now in some of the verbiage that we use and the way we express it. And I think that's great. We need more people out there in hip hop thinking along those lines and not being afraid to say what they really feel about the BS that's going on. But we all need to work together, though. That's the thing.
No, I told you. I was out in Cali. I moved out to Cali when the documentary was dropping. That changed the way that I looked at hip-hop forever. He had shit on Smash. I had never seen nothing like that. And keep in mind, I'm coming from Atlanta where Jeezy and Tip just had it on Smash and was still on Smash. And I was like, no, I ain't seen nothing like this. Yeah. That was game. I was coming out of Atlanta watching Tip and Jeezy's buzz. And I was like, no. That's not a buzz compared to this shit that I'm seeing out here that he got going on with this project.
And the Jeezy buzz was big. Jay Short says, they won't come here because we demand skill. Yeah? Man there with the super chat says the documentary brought the West back when it dropped. No way it's not top 100 hip hop album of all time.
No,
The
I
game
agree.
has
I made a
classic
mistake.
music.
That was
True
one of my
fans
mistakes.
can't deny it. Yeah, I mean,
See, but here's also the problem too. And I went to this, Mike. It's like, well, I listed 100 albums. I literally have another 56 under it right now.
okay,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
already at 156.